Hello everyone, I'm Captain Shar. I'm mostly a retro gamer. Sometimes I do reaction content. This is one of those times. We're back with the Fat Files of our good old friend, the Fat Electrician here. Grey Goose and Jägermeister, a marketing psyop, eh? And it made billions. As usual guys, link to the original will be down below, so we're just gonna hop into it.
Well, this was going to be a video on the history of Jaeger bombs, but when I started researching it, what I found was the most diabolical marketing genius of all time, so now it's about that.
Okay, let's go for it.
Today we're talking about Sidney Frank, a World War II aviation engineer that would go on to be an alcohol billionaire by creating Jägermeister as we know it today, as well as Grey Goose, and is also partially responsible for pretty much every other...
I think I have a bottle of Jaeger still in the fridge, and I've had Grey Goose.
...other vodka that costs more than $15. And he did it through just marketing and branding. That's it. He didn't improve a product. He didn't make a superior product and offer it at a better price. He didn't have a better value proposition. Nothing. He just seemingly made these things popular out of thin air through just marketing and psychology. And we're going to get into how he did it right after word from our sponsor.
Shave? Nope, shave it.
Why are you in a swimsuit?
I'm taking the boys swimming.
Is that safe?
I think so.
I would...
Wait. I couldn't even tell she was hiding that.
I think so.
I was talking about the fact that the water's frozen.
Oh. Yeah, we should be good.
What?
All right. All right, you guys know the deal. Delete Me, online subscription model. You give them money every month. They turn around and make sure the data brokers on the internet aren't selling your personal information. What does this actually do in practice? It gets rid of your personal info, isn't just floating around the internet for anybody to be able to buy for a couple of bucks. Okay, I know what you're thinking because I thought the same thing. I don't want to give Delete Me all my personal information either. I'm trying to get my personal information off the internet. Why would I give it to an internet company? You don't really have to give them your personal information. It's honestly kind of creepy. I gave them my name and my email address, and that was it. They came back to me a couple days later and was like, is this your address or one of your previous addresses? It was. Is this your mom's full name? Uh-huh. Is that your dad's full name? Uh-huh. Are you related to this person? Did you go to this high school? They knew everything about me and knew exactly who I was just by me giving them my name and my email. All I had to do was answer a couple of yes or no questions as to whether or not that was in fact me, which it was, at which point they're like, cool, go ahead, pay for our subscription service. We'll go to all the data brokers where we found this information and force them to delete it. And as long as you keep being a paying member, they will continue to monitor all of these data brokers for your personal information. And if these data brokers do acquire it again, they will force them to delete it again. In my opinion, it's definitely worth it. I've been using them since before they were paying me to talk about them, and I'm going to keep using them after they quit paying me to talk about them. And if you want to give it a try, I'll have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video. All right, let's take it from the top. The history of Jägermeister, probably the most notorious alcohol of all time, okay? It's alcoholic NyQuil is basically what it is, okay? It is a nighttime...
Well, all I'll say is we used to have a drink back in my earlier days. We called it the Golden Deer. I know, it's nothing new. It's just, you'll figure it out. Look it up.
Sniffling, sneezing. How the fuck did I wake up here? Medicine is what Jägermeister is. And it started off pretty much exactly how you would think it did, as a vinegar manufacturing facility in Germany.
What?
I was not expecting that.
1989, Kurt Mass takes over his father's vinegar manufacturing plant in Wolfenbüttel, Germany, and vinegar's been kind of going downhill profit-wise, so he pretty much immediately transitions from manufacturing vinegar to making wine. And that's what he does for like the next 18 years, he's making wine. But the entire time, he also has a side passion project of making what he believes to be the world's best liquor. He works on this thing for over 18 years, different recipes, different methods of making it, just constantly refining and improving the process. Why did it take him 18 years? Because Jägermeister has 56 different herbs and spices in it, okay? They're putting Colonel Sanders to shame. It's got fruit, it's got poppy seeds, it's got ginseng, it's got licorice in it, it's got all kinds of random crap. He then takes all of this stuff, gets it together, and then steeps it in alcohol for 3 days straight. Then he filters the alcohol out and ages it in an oak barrel for a year. Then he filters it again and then mixes it with more alcohol, sugar, and caramel. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, Curtis Mass has just fulfilled the German stereotype. He has over-engineered something as simple as making alcohol. Okay, he literally said, oh, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get blackout drunk? I can make you something to get blackout drunk. It's going to be 100 ingredients. It's going to take a year to make, and the manufacturing process is going to be so complicated that it has 383 quality checks before you're allowed to drink it. Wow, that sounds really complicated. I bet Jägermeister tastes absolutely delicious. No, not at all. Actually, it tastes like cough syrup. Well, the first shot tastes like cough syrup. The fifth shot tastes like invading Poland with your homies is a good idea.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. By 1934, he perfects his recipe for Jägermeister.
You know what's sad? He's not wrong in the analogy. It tastes like cough medicine. It's just like, you know what? Yeah. It does kind of taste like cough medicine, thinking about it.
Next thing he does is he has to come up with a name, and he decides Jägermeister, which is German for huntmaster. Hunting in Germany at this time was like a very prestigious thing. If you were a hunter, you were probably wealthy, had a lot of money, so he's going to market this product to hunters. So we've got our product, we've got our target audience, we've got a cool name. Now we just have to work on the packaging, right? And this is where Jägermeister gets its iconic green bottle from, and you might just think, oh, it's a cool looking bottle. It was made in the 1930s. It's old timey looking. That was probably state of the art cool shit back in the day. No, not really. The bottle itself is the most interesting part of the entire process because that bottle was specifically selected through very rigorous scientific study. And by rigorous scientific study, I mean he went and bought a bunch of sample bottles from all the manufacturers around and then tested them all by throwing them at the floor, and this was the last one to break. Okay, homie knew people were gonna get fucked up on Jägermeister. So he's got his product, he's ready to take it to market, he takes it to market, and it becomes pretty popular pretty quickly because, unfortunately, Hermann Göring likes it.
Oh no.
Like the second most powerful man in Germany in 1934, aka Hitler's right-hand man, Hermann Göring, who also holds the title of Reichsjägermeister, aka the Imperial Huntmaster of Germany, the guy that you have to go through to get a hunting license in the entire country. So, I mean, obviously he likes it. It's kind of named after him, even though it wasn't deliberately named after him. It was just named Huntmaster, but that guy's title is the Imperial Huntmaster of Germany, so, like, you know, it's kind of named after him. If there was a beer called Fat Electrician, I'd probably drink it even if I had nothing to do with it.
Write that down, write that down!
Because of this, Jägermeister gets the nickname Göring Schnapps in Germany through the 1930s and 40s. Right around exactly May 8th, 1945, it loses that nickname and the Jägermeister brand distances itself from the Nazi Party for obvious reasons. Okay, it's fine, don't overthink it, all right? Just live by the golden rule. Never ask a man how much money he makes, never ask a woman how much she weighs, and never ever ask a German company what the fuck they were up to in the 1930s and 40s, all right? You'll live a happier life. Nobody needs to know that Porsche was making tanks. Anyways.
The dove representing Deutschland.
From here, Jägermeister kind of falls off. It's kind of being promoted as like a digestive aid, like old people are drinking it after dinner to help them digest their food better because it's got all the herbs and spices and botanicals and bullshit in it. Like you were more likely to find it in your grandmother's medicine cabinet than you were.
Well, there's a reason my friends called it Grandpa's cough syrup for a reason, and it's just proving my point.
Or like at a bar
Proving his
or
point,
at a party.
actually.
But then somebody came along and changed that. Cue our main character, Sidney Frank. During World War II, he was an engineer working for Pratt & Whitney, helping the Allies make bigger, better, faster planes. After he comes back home from World War II, he meets his wife Lois and marries her. And Lois is an heiress to Schenley Industries, one of the biggest alcohol companies in the United States of America, so Frank goes to work at his in-laws' liquor business. He works his way up the ranks and eventually becomes the president of the entire company, and then in 1970, there's this big family dispute. He ends up getting fired and goes off and starts his own rival business, Sidney Frank Importing Company. And then in 1973, he would acquire the exclusive US importing rights for this obscure old liquor from Germany called Jägermeister, which wasn't really that big of a deal at the time because nobody drank Jägermeister. They were only importing 5,000 cases to the entire country every year, and most of those were going to like herbal pharmacies and stuff. They weren't getting bought up by bars and parties and liquor stores. And that's why he was able to get it. He's a small startup company, just went out on his own. He doesn't have the money to buy the importing license for an entire country for something that's actually popular. So the only thing he can do is gather up a bunch of these little tiny obscure brands and hope they sell, or he could get one and figure out a way to make it popular. And that's exactly what he does. But the problem is how do you make alcoholic cough syrup from a German grandmother's medicine cabinet popular? In Sidney Frank's own words, and I quote, "I'm not selling a drink, I'm selling a lifestyle." Okay, step one, this stuff tastes horrible. We're gonna make sure that nobody actually tastes it, okay? Jägermeister is not something that you drink like a beer. It's not something that you sip on like whiskey. It's something that you do in a shot. And even then, it tastes horrible, so we're gonna market it that you have to do the shot when the Jägermeister is ice cold, fresh out of the freezer. Okay, next problem, if the Jägermeister is in the freezer, it's not up behind the bar where people can see it, and if people can't see it, they're not gonna order it because they can't telepathically see what's inside of the freezer, so they have to figure out a way to make it ice cold and get it in front of people's faces, introducing the Jaeger machine that keeps the Jaeger ice cold and is this big, cool looking thing where the liquor bottles sit on top of it, and that's how the bartender is going to get you your shot. And that alone is going to drive the sales of Jägermeister, because everybody's going to be like, what?
So it's basically one of those cold water dispensers, but it's for Jaeger. Fascinating.
The fuck is that thing? Yes, I want to try it. And because of this, Jaeger becomes outrageously popular in bars all over America because it does exactly what a shot is supposed to do. Shots aren't supposed to taste good, they're supposed to get you fucked up, and that's what Jaeger specializes in. So now things are going pretty good for Jägermeister, so Sidney Frank pushes it even further. He starts marketing to college kids specifically. How does he do this? He starts sponsoring concerts from local
That sounds about right with the time I first had it. Yeah, that checks.
Popular bands. He starts giving Jaeger out to all the fraternities and giving them to all the college kids that throw parties so that they can use it for their party. He even goes as far as hiring attractive women dressed up in Jägermeister outfits to go out and give out free shots of Jägermeister called the Jaegerettes. Okay, do you understand what he did? He did the Red Bull thing.
They're basically the Hooters girls, but just inverted colors.
Except he did it like 20 years before Red Bull did it. Red Bull ripped off Jägermeister and Sidney Frank for their entire marketing strategy. Red Bull became popular in bars because they had the little Red Bull cooler right there on the bar for your vodka Red Bulls.
Wow, we
Jägermeister did the same thing with the Jaeger machine. Red Bull sponsored concerts in college.
I do like the fact that machine shows the display right on the tap. It's kind of cool, not gonna lie.
Parties. Jägermeister did the same thing.
Now, if the Jaeger machine was steampunkified, yeah, I'd want one in my house if it was steampunked.
20 years prior. Red Bull has the Red Bull girls running around giving out cans of free energy drinks, and the Jaegerettes are running around giving out shots. Red Bull ripped off Jägermeister's entire marketing strategy and gets all the credit for it. And obviously, the strategy works pretty well. That's why Red Bull ripped it off in the first place, because Jaeger is the most popular liquor in America by the early 1990s. I couldn't find concrete stats for the early 1990s, but by 2006, Jägermeister by itself accounted for 11% of all liquor imports to the United States. He took Jägermeister from 5,000 cases a year to over 2 million. He didn't make the product better, he didn't make it cheaper, he literally just improved the branding and turned Jägermeister into the most popular liquor in America. So by 1997, he's got the most popular liquor in America, and he has exclusive importing rights for the entire country. He's bored, he needs a new side project, so he decides, I'll do it again. I took alcoholic German cough syrup and made it the most popular drink in America. Imagine what I could do if I started...
Alcoholic German cough syrup. That is a name. That is a name that rolls off
from scratch, and actually just got to pick the liquor that I wanted to make and then made that popular. So that's exactly what he does. So what's going to be the easiest thing to promote? Vodka. Why? Because vodka is literally by definition a neutral spirit with no distinct flavor, taste, aroma, or color. Okay, it's rubbing alcohol mixed with water. That's all vodka is, which means it is the perfect alcohol to be able to launch a luxury brand of and not actually have to do any work on making a good product. Because the entire point of vodka is to look, taste, and smell like nothing. So what is the difference between luxury nothing and good old garden variety nothing? Nothing. So all he has to do is launch a brand and then convince people that his is fancy, and guess who's going to be able to tell? Nobody, because nothing tastes like fucking nothing.
I can taste air.
How's he going to do it? Step one, fancy name, Grey Goose. How'd he come up with it? He had already trademarked the name from a previous failed business venture. Step two, have fancy packaging. He looks around, he's like, okay, what are the most popular vodkas in America? Okay, the most expensive vodka in 1997 is Absolute Vodka, selling for $15 a bottle. It's short and fat, cool. We're gonna be tall and skinny. They're the dwarves, we're the elves, we're the fancy ones. And then instead of having a twist top like every other vodka on the planet, we're gonna have a cork in ours. Does it do anything whatsoever? No, but it looks fancy. Absolute Vodka is also the most expensive vodka at the time at $15 a bottle.
Double it!
We're gonna sell ours for $30 a bottle. Because if it's expensive, it must be good, right? Even if it's nothing. Step three, convince...
You know what's dumb? He's not wrong. It's like there's so many companies that do this, and then it's just like, especially in the food industry, a lot of things are like, yep, taste the exact same as the other stuff. What's the difference? Nothing.
Them that it's fancy. Thanks. Convince them that it's luxurious. How are you going to do that? Well, all the vodka in 1997 is pretty much made in Russia and Poland. So what's fancier and more luxurious than Russia or Poland? France. I mean, France is where all the fancy shit comes from, right? Truffles, French wine, getting your ass beat in World War II. Louis Vuitton,
What?
champagne, societal adultery to the degree that you have to make it illegal to have paternity tests in your country.
What?
Because if you had paternity tests readily available, it would break up so many families that it would destroy your country. Paris
What?
Fashion Week, the Eiffel Tower, the Mona Lisa, those weird loaves of bread that sound like a slur for gay people. You guys get the point. In his own words, and
I often wonder if the French bread there, if it was stale and frozen, could you use it as basically a fencing weapon at that point? I'm serious. It's like, this is one of those things, one of those shower thoughts, basically. Like, if French bread was stale and then frozen, since it's already a dense, hard bread as is, could you use it as a weapon? Now, for legal reasons, this is a joke, but like, it's kind of like, where's the Mythbusters? I need them back.
quote, France has the best of everything. It's the home of luxury. We can bottle that. But he's not going to stop there. He's not just going to say it's French vodka. He's going to co-opt as many fancy sounding words as he possibly can. He's going to have his vodka made with wheat from the Picardy region of France because it sounds like Bacardi. Is it better than any other wheat? No, but it sounds fancy. He's going to hire a distillery to make it for him in the Cognac region of France. Does the geographical location of where the vodka is distilled affect it in any way whatsoever? No, but he gets to say cognac in the advertising now. And then he's going to make sure that that distiller in the Cognac region of France filters the vodka over champagne limestone. Is that better than any other type of filtration method? No, but he gets to say champagne limestone. So hey, it's got to be fancy.
Buzzwords. It's all buzzwords.
Uses that to basically shit on every other vodka brand, because every other vodka brand at this point in time usually brags about how many times their vodka gets distilled, with the implication being the more times it's distilled, the better the product is. For example, Absolute Vodka claims that they're distilled 100 times. Frank flips the script. He goes, well, because I'm using such superior products, I'm using Picardy wheat and I'm filtering over champagne limestone, and it's distilled in Cognac, France, I only need to distill it one time because my ingredients are so much better.
Does it taste the same?
Even though they're not. It's all just marketing BS.
I lied.
And here's the crazy part. He figures out all of this before he even finds somebody to make the product. Like, he already knows exactly what ingredients he wants, where he wants it made, how he wants it filtered, what the bottle's gonna look like, what the brand is gonna be called. Hasn't even found anybody to actually distill the vodka yet, because it's the least important aspect of the entire brand. Because again, nothing tastes like nothing. This is why Costco's brand Kirkland wins all kinds of awards for having the best blind taste.
Well, yeah, it's basically all rubbing alcohol.
Vodka, because once you take the fancy packaging out of it, it's all the same shit. So he gets that done, he launches the brand, and he specifically targets like ultra high-end bars and like airport lounges for first class people, like people with money that are gonna see the Grey Goose and want to buy it knowing that it's the most expensive one, because these are the people that when the bartender asks, oh, what kind of vodka did you want? Top shelf, most expensive one, and he's double the price of everyone else. And that's it, that's all it took. Suddenly Grey Goose is known as being the best vodka around because it's the most expensive, and expensive equals the best, and it's hard to disprove it because guess what? It's supposed to taste like fucking nothing, so of course it tastes like all the other nothing, but this nothing is better because it's twice the price. The entire business model is just make people feel special for...
Well, that's the same thing with TVs now. Fun fact, most TVs only have a native 1080p chip in them, and then they have a scaler chip that upscales it to 4K resolutions. And another fun fact there, human eyes can't really see past 1080 that well. Like, yeah, there's gonna be people who are gonna fight me on that, but for the most part, the average person can't see past it that well. So, bigger number always means better for human brain, because we are monkeys at the core of it all.
Overpaying for something, just like when you drink Grey Goose, people know that you have too much fucking money.
Because here at Globo Gym, we're better than you, and we know it.
Okay, on one hand, that's stupid, but on the other hand, it's not stupid if it works, and this fucking works because it becomes the #1 luxury vodka in the country in like a year. And within 7 years of making the brand seemingly out of thin air, he would sell the entire brand to Bacardi for $2.3 billion with a B.
Love that money.
He could have sat on that and just kept it going.
Okay, do you understand how crazy that is? There's nothing to this company. They don't own a factory where they make the product. They literally just outsource it to a third party. They don't have a secret recipe that somebody's buying the rights to. It's just whatever fucking vodka you want to cram in the bottle. They literally paid paid $2.3 billion just to have the right to the Grey Goose.
So I'm curious if Bacardi felt like they got robbed on this one, or if they're just like, okay, where's your factory? What factory, dude? You just bought the name. That's all you get. You get the name and the label. There is nothing. There's nothing else here. Like, I am so curious to how that went down. If there was like a suit or something that happened afterwards.
Bottle and the words Grey Goose. That's it. $2.3 billion for a name and a bottle design. And the rest of the business world sees this and they're like, holy shit, that's brilliant. We should do the exact same thing. And this basically was the birth of the ultra high-end luxury vodka market. Everybody else was just doing the same.
The Dyson vacuum. Let's reinvent the vacuum and make it fancy and expensive and a piece of crap. But you know what? People will still buy it because it's expensive. It means it's good. Again, allegedly, for me, I don't use those vacuums because they're overpriced. You can't afford that. I'm not forking out $800 for a vacuum cleaner.
Exact thing, trying to be special and luxurious, like, oh, this one comes inside of a skull, this one's got gold flakes in it, this one's made
tasty.
from grapes and is sponsored by P. Diddy, which backfired spectacularly, by the way.
He'll be home in 2 years. All right, he'll be fine.
Sidney Frank basically just printed $2.3 billion out of thin air. He's 84 years old, so he just starts giving it all away to charity. Giving away hundreds of millions of dollars. He ended up being the biggest donor in Brown University history, did a bunch of philanthropy and a bunch of other stuff, and then 2 years later, in 2006, he would pass away from a heart attack on his private jet as a billionaire, which is definitely a version of the American dream. And if that doesn't teach you the power of marketing and branding, absolutely nothing will. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch, maybe drink some Echelon. All that's available over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
All right, I say this every time, guys, but every time he does a merch drop, always make sure if you want something of his, double check it. Make sure you grab it because some of his merch is timed for that month. Don't miss out like I did. So hop on that. Anyways, that's it for now, guys. That was fun. We will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.